things. Wendy from Tampa. Tampa, Florida. Dennis, I am so conflicted about the upcoming election. Great. Something I know less about than football. The presidential election. I backed Herman Cain. Ludicrous. And I still like Herman. He's pissing me off a little going around doing these campaign stops with Colbert. Come on. He's making fools of you, I think. Well, he wasn't at one. I'm sure he's nice to you, but you're kind of being used there. I'm so conflicted about this upcoming election. I think we're at an odd crossroads because we all certainly like the personality of Mitt, and on the other side we like that Newt is a tough and no-nonsense candidate. Mitt certainly is highly electable candidate, yet I have the feeling that he may get crushed with the crap that is waiting down the road. I agree with you. Whereas Newt could probably be unfazed. Your thoughts on this? I view this as that scene in Good Will Hunting where the night janitor comes in and fixes the problem. And I view this as a math thing. And I'm going to call Ron Paul. Let Paul equal Z. He's way out there at the end of the alphabet. But we're going to bring it in, and I'm going to say that Y and double Y are Gingrich and Romney. And as I see these debates, they're just, you know how you winnow an equation down, you start slashing. Well, there's a Y here I can take, and a Y parentheses minus 1 here that I can take. What? I'm almost wondering if this math equation is going to lead us to let X equal Santorum. Because these two guys are napalming each other right now. All I know is this. I'm glad they're all in it still. I think they present 4 horsemen that I kind of am intrigued to watch right now. And if it is to be Romney, well, let's place him as like the John Wayne guy driving the stagecoach, the handsome leading man. Let's make Romney Chill Wills, or let's make Gingrich Chill Wills. You know, sitting there, old Pappy with the shotgun. Just anybody who comes up, he's blasting away. And let Santorum be the preacher who's being taken out to save the Wild West inside the cabin. And let Ron Paul, I don't know what side he's on, if he's in the stagecoach or he's out riding on a horse with the Indians. Let's just leave him as the Z factor. So I'm not sure what's going to happen yet, obviously, but I do know that if Romney and Gingrich continue to cancel each other out, I think that Santorum is situated perfectly. And I find him a nice man, but he's going to have to swim upstream on that thing that he said years ago where he made the unfortunate choice of talking about gay marriage. Now, he prefaced it, indeed, in the quote. If you read the quote in its entirety, he'll say, and I'm not trying to demean homosexuals or something. He says something like that in there. I should have the quote if I'm going to try to be accurate about it, but there is some sort of qualifier. And then he says, what's next? Multiple marriages? He was fine with that, and he should have ended it there. Because, you know, he was talking about the possibility of lawsuits opening up. If you let gay people get married, who has the next niche buy that they want to get in there? So that's where he was speaking, but then he went a step too far, half step too far when he said, step too far when he said underage marriages. But at that point you can still think maybe he's talking about 16-year-olds, and I see that guy who was in the Green Mile has just married a 16-year-old, and it seems like I don't know, it's hard for me to say that's the end of the world. There's sexual abuse, and then, I don't know, there's a 16-year-old girl, I think they're allowed to get married if they want. It seems odd to you, but so that's a step too far. But then it's Arnhem Bridge. It's completely parachuting behind enemy lines and getting trapped back there. And the core subject of A Bridge Too Far, which is a pretty great movie, when he said, man, something about, what's next, a man and a dog or something? You got to live by what comes out of your pie hole. And I know, since I have 2 sons, I have sons and friends, and I hear kids talking. And they're not doing all this investigative work, but I can tell him the flashcard on his campaign is, and I've heard this come out as I drive, you listen to that backseat conversation where they kind of are talking, and they know you're there, but they're still talking, and you hear and they don't go full bore and tell you everything, but you can kind of hear little snippets of their world, and they think Santorum has compared homosexuality to bestiality, and he's got to figure a way out of that with kids, because anybody above 18 can vote, obviously. And I think if you took a poll of 18 to 22-year-olds who are trying to lose a lot of these trappings of, cliquishness that existed when I was a kid. And when you go down to South by Southwest, it's one of the things that enamors me of contemporary youth is a lot of those cliques that existed when I was a kid don't exist as much. You see bad-looking people and great-looking people. You see gay people and straight people. You see black people and white people. I'm not saying that human nature has changed completely, but it has changed to a large degree with kids. They don't see all that stuff. And that's what he's stuck with right now, 18 to 22-year-old vote. He's not going to get many of those. And in a margin election, that's going to cost him. Santorum has to figure out some way, and I don't mean a slick way. I mean, he has to just come out and say what he honestly thought. And if he was just making, ticking things off, he can say that. But he's going to have to say that again to get kids to come around, because in their head they're saying, didn't he lump the homosexuality in with bestiality? And he's screwed. They're not going to vote for him. So, but it could yield out to him. I think he's a decent man. I've had him on the show. I think he has a decent sense of humor about himself. I don't think he's as corrupt as some politicians. But I must say, even as somebody who's predisposed to kind of like him, that sticks in my head. I wish, I got too many homosexual friends that I love who I can't say that their feelings weren't hurt by that. Or that's a silly laundry list. It just stop it. Say, what's next? Somebody who wants to participate in multiple marriages? In your case, you've made your case that it's about the lawsuits and not the predilections of people. But when you go down that road, you have to be held accountable, and that's going to make him accountable. Enjoy these samples of the Bathrobe Sessions, a weekly video available only to members of the DMZ, the Dennis Miller Zone, on DennisMillerRadio.com.